Shabbat Shalom. Well, we have I wouldn't say a special guest, but I'm really happy to have Gander back. I've been, trying to hold down the fort. We've had different people helping out, but it's good to have my Bima buddy. Page 14, we'll start with Yediv Nefesh. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate. To listen to our inward selves, we open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world we are creating, in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others, and we reach toward one holy, perfect moment. Shabbat, page 15, Kundaranana.
Lepuneranena, 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 Adonai. Lepuneranena, 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 Adonai. Naria, naria, letzur yisenu, nekama panav betona. Naria, naria, letzur yisenu, v'yizmirot naria lo. Lepuneranena, 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 Adonai. Lepuneranena, 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 Adonai. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, nekama panav betona. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, v'yizmirot naria lo. Lepuneranena, 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 Adonai. Lepuneranena, 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 Adonai. Arma'im shana akut menor va'omar am to'ele mavhem ve'hem lo yadun Asher nishbati ve'api im yevon el menuchati.
Turn the page and we'll praise God's name together. Page 16.
Ya la 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 התבשרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו. כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, איי איי איי, מכל אלוהי העמים אלילים, באדוני שמיים עשה, עוד והדר לפניו, עוד בתפארת במקדשו, המול אדוני משפחות עמים, המול אדוני כבוד ועוז, המול אדוני כבוד שמו. צאו מנחה ובואו לעצרותיו, איי איי איי, הסתפרו לנו בהר הקודש, גילו מפניו כל הארץ. אדוני מלאכיו תיקון תמר בהתימות, ידיל עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגי הארץ. ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, איי איי איי, אז ירננו כל עצי לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, לשפוט תמר וצדק, בעמים באמונתו. יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה.
On the next page, we'll read responsively, page 17. Adonai is sovereign. Let the world rejoice.
God's throne is founded on justice. Though God be clouded from view, divine justice reveals God's presence.
God's lightning illumines the earth. Fire consumes God's foes. Mountains melt like wax before God. The earth trembles.
The heavens proclaim God's righteousness. All people behold God's majesty.
Shame covers those who worship idols, those who take pride in revering images which must themselves bow low before God.
Hearing of your judgments, Adonai, Zion exults and the cities of Judah rejoice.
You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the faithful and saves them from the wicked.
Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable.
Rejoice in Adonai, you who are righteous. Acclaim the holiness of God's name.
We'll turn the page to 18 and sing once again together. New song.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mizmor shirul Adonai shir chadash, ki niflot asa, hoshia lo yamino, uzoach hachoni Adonai Yeshuato, hine agoyim gilatzit kato, zachar nashlo emunato, lebeit Yisrael, rahu kol atzei haaretz, et Yeshuat Eloheinu, hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz, b'zchut eronenu v'zameru, zameru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotron v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, yiram hayamu lo, tevel v'yosef v'eva, yeharot imcha upa, yachad havim
turn to the bottom of page 19 for Romamu. Invite you to rise on page 20 for the 29th Psalm. We hear over and over and over, Kol Adonai, the voice of God. When we reach the end, we rise and face the entrance to welcome in Shabbat, imagining her as our bride.
Adonai, Karush ראש מכתם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תפילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ילדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ילדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרו את אדוני תריצי. איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ילדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ילדה, שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת פלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי פלה, בואי פלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ילדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ילדה, ילדה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Page 23, we are seated. We find the psalm for Shabbat. Good to acclaim God, to praise the exalted God.
מזמור מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת. 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 צדיק אתה יפרח כארז בלבנון, יזכה שטובים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשבח, דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד, כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולה תבוא.
I'll turn the page to the last of the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat. We've been on this journey together through the days of creation, bringing us now to this sacred time, page 24.
Adonai malacheu tzavesh, lavesh Adonai osita zach, al tikon tevel batimot. Nachon
Parishioners Kaddish, page 24. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba. B'yomad, Yikrach, Rotei, B'yamlech Malchutei. L'chayachon, V'yamachon, V'chayet Echol Beit Yisrael. V'agalam Isman Charib, V'yimro. Amen. Yehesh Shemei Rabba M'borach, Le'olam Olamei Olmaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitrumam, V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei D'Kudsha, B'richu. La'ela Mimkol Berchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, L'maran B'yoma B'yimro. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael B'yimro. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'yirmomav, V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael B'yimro. Amen. I'll continue my journey through Pirkei Avot, and we are now in the third chapter, the fifth Mishnah. And it says there, and I will say I find some of this I agree with, and some of this, we'll go back in time a little bit. So, Hayden, this is for you a little. So, Rabbi Hanina ben Chachnai, Hanina ben Chachina Omer, Hane'or Balayla. So if you are up in the middle of the night, or if you're Hamchalech Baderech Yachid, or if you're traveling alone at night, Umephaneh Libo Lebatla, and you're not. So here's the question, and you turn your thoughts to trivial matters. Hareza Mitchayev Benafsho. So of course the question is, how do you parse this? Is it these are three different things that are each individually not a good thing, like don't be up in the middle of the night, don't go traveling by yourself, and don't, think trivial thoughts, that all of those things individually are dangerous? Or is it, if you do all three things, is this a Venn diagram, in the middle is the dangerous part? That if you're traveling in the middle of the night by yourself and you're awake, that's bad. So all depending on how we define, it's eat, shoots, and leaves. It all depends where we put the commas to determine how do we feel about this. Now, you could think about, how many people's mother said to them, nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m. My mother didn't tell me that, but I had friends that did. And, when I was in college, some of the best conversations happened at 2 a.m., but some of the best decisions did not. So, I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Traveling alone, I know people who travel alone and say it's the best thing in the entire world. You're not committed to anyone else's schedule. You can go where you want, when you want. That part sounds great. But sometimes traveling alone has its own risks. You don't have someone checking up on you. You disappear on a crowded square, and it takes a little time to figure out where to go. And then the last part is, where is our focus in life? Are we focusing on the things that matter? Or are we focusing on those little things that really don't? People these days have gotten really obsessed with certain things that seem really, really trivial in the scheme of things. I'm thinking tonight about, just this week, we had 2 different types of disasters. In Haiti had, yet again, another tremendous earthquake. Had hundreds of people, for lack of a building code or resources or being in the wrong place at the wrong time, lost their lives, and many others lost their livelihoods and are going to have to start all over again. And then, around the world, we saw what's going on in Afghanistan. And, I saw an article in the Tampa Bay Times yesterday from someone saying, my dad, I should have listened to my dad. My dad was right, who had said, in 2001, we had a mission, go in, and get out. I don't claim to be an expert on Afghani national affairs, so don't quote me, on what the right decision was. But no leaving was ever going to be good. It didn't matter if it was in 2001, it didn't matter if it was 2021. It might not have mattered if it was 21. But what I will say is to all of those who served, this has got to be a challenging time. And my heart goes out to you, and I want to say that your work was not in vain. Because for the women and children who over the last 20 years who had the chance to get an education, that's a blessing for them. And even if, who knows what the next weeks and months and years will come, if anyone told me in May that I'd be wearing a mask again on the bima, I would have said, oh, but the pandemic's over, So I don't claim to predict the future. But I can say my heart is here. And my heart is with those who have had to struggle. My heart is with those women who had the opportunity for a little while to get a taste of freedom and now have to wear a certain garb again. I don't claim to have a right answer. I can just acknowledge that it's a lousy situation. So maybe, sometimes we need our thoughts to turn to something less serious than that. We need to play a game with our kids. We need to spend some time and have a drink with a friend and talk about the things that don't matter. Because in order for us to think about the things that do, we sometimes need that pause. So I've now interpreted this 6 different ways, and I don't know which one's right. Because you get one rabbi, you get at least 3 opinions. And we can have another conversation next week about what it means to have the yoke of Torah, to feel the obligation of making this world a better place while balancing that with the needs of the community. So, a taste of next week. We'll turn now to the Baruch Hu, page 28. We rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamelech.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. The blessings before Kriyat Shema. I will continue on page 28.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני Hamarif Haravim.
Page 29.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם בלילה מאהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך ובביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאותה ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Adonai Elohechem emet. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם. משה בני ישראל הכנו שירה ושמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות הספלה. מלכותך רומנך, בוקי הים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פד אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
On page 33, help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace, guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy, shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us, shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all God's people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. And on page 34, we'll rise for the Beshamru and the Chatzi Kaddish. And then after that, on pages 35 to 40, we'll take a little time for our personal prayer, beginning the Amidah for Shabbat.
Meshameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה כנותי, בהמליך מלכותי, בחיי חון וביום חון, וחיי דרך בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן V'yimeru amen. Yehesh meraba mevarach le'alam ulal me'al maya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh ve'yithadar ve'yitaleh ve'yithalal shemere kodesha brichu le'ela min kol v'chana ve'shirata tushmechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma b'meru amen.
Night Kabbalat Your personal prayer. We continue and remain standing, page 47.
Vayechol hashamayim me'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashmi melachto Vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi Vayikadesh oto ki bo shamat mikol melachto Asher bara Elohim lasot Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Avraham v'Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagimon v'Hanora El Elyon Konei Shamayim Haaretz Magen Avot Bidvaro וחיים מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו. כי העם רצה להניח להם, כי העם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד מעול הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שמי, ומניח בקדושה ליעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית.
Eloheinu v'lev Avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest, instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so we might serve you faithfully. Lovingly and willingly, Adonai our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people of Israel, who hallow your name, will always find rest on this day. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
יתקרבי כאן השם מרבה, בעלמא ג'יברה כנותי וימליך מלכותם יכולים ויכולים גיילים בישראל, בגלה בזמקריב ואמרו אמן. יש מרבה מברך, לעלם עולם מעלמיה. יפרק וישתמק פרצה וינשא וידבר וידלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל מגעתם שירתה, כשרגעתה ונגמנה, דבירה בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צהבת הודך ישראל, קדם אבות וישמעיה, ואמרו אמן. יש לומר רבה משמעיה, וחיים עלינו בעלכו ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועלכו ישראל, ואמרו amen.
When you get home and you have your Shabbat dinner, take out a glass of wine, take out the grape juice or the schnapps or whatever you make kiddush on, and make kiddush. Because it is your action of saying the bracha over that cup that turns the ordinary into the sacred. You turn the day that was Friday and you make it Shabbat. And that is a conscious choice. It's something that doesn't happen all by itself. God made Shabbat, but for us to feel the Shabbat, we have to make the choice to accept it. And that choice doesn't happen once in our life, it happens every single week. That we say, enough of all that has been, enough of the malacha, enough of the work, and time for Shabbat. Time to breathe, time to give thanks. So for that part, we're not making Kiddush in the shul right now, so do it at home. Aleinu, page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמרנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלך. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We remember this week, you may be seated, Basha Mauer, Francis Grubman, Ida Frankel-Loengard. We think of Julius Kohlhagen, Lester Litsky, Rosalind Katz, Sovel Heshelov, Aaron B. Cohen, Becky Yanchuk, Israel Lewis, Samuel Morris, bookbinder, Louis Sacklad, Theodore Ayes, Harriet Sweeble, Oscar Davis, Albert Colin, E. Morris Heller, Ethel Wadowski, Jacob Kleinberger, Jeanette Davis Diamond, Sally Rothstein, Sandra Levin, Clara W. Milchman, Constance Lazarus, Jacob Whitner, Yehezkel Gershuni, Irving Obnetsky, and Michael Walker. In their memory, on page 52, we praise God's name with Kaddish. Yitz Gadal, Yitz Kadash, Shemerabah, V'alma, Divrach, Rotei, V'amlech, Malchutei, Mechayachon, V'machon, V'chayed Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Uzman, Karib, V'imru, Amen. Yehesh, Merabah, Mevorach, Le'olam, Olamei, Olmaya, Yitbarach, V'ishtabach, V'itpa'av, V'tromam, V'itnasei, V'itadar, V'italev, V'italal, Shmed, V'itsha, B'rechu, La'ein lach min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, Lemeran b'yalma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Aseh shalom v'imramav, Kuli aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Bruchim habayim. Welcome to our friends and family. Shabbat shalom to all. Hayden, good to see you. We're excited. It's a blessing. A long-awaited blessing. So this week we've got good things going on, and I hope you'll check your email for all of them. I'm not going to go through it all. I'll do that tomorrow. For now, I'll just say that tomorrow we start Sukkot Zimra. We start the Birkot HaShachar at 9 a.m. and tomorrow night, anyone that would like to be on Zoom for Havdalah, that's at 8:45. But I will, and then Sunday morning we will have a minyan here in person, and the minyaneers, well, not breakfast anymore, but come, study a little bit, daven a little bit, and then go pick up lunch at Joel's and have lunch where you like. So, also the PRTT open house is Sunday morning. So, good things. I'm doing an online lunch and learn on Wednesday. Talk a little bit about Rosh Hashanah. Oh, I'm a little frustrated. I really wanted to have lunch with people. We'll get there. I don't know when, but we'll get there. So we'll conclude tonight with the Igdal. We will close out with joy. In the words of the Rambam, page 53.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח נמצא וינט אל מציאותו אחד מן יחיד כייחודו נעלם בגלל אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמות הגוף ואין לו גוף לא נערך אליו קדושתו כדמול ללא דבר אשר נברא ראשון וראשית לראשיתו הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר יורה גדולתו מלכותו שפע נבואתו נתנו אלא שסגולתו ותפארתו לא קם ישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את תמונתו Torah Natan Le'amoel, Aya Nevi'o Neman Beito, Lo Yachalif Ha'el, Velo Yamir Dato, Le'olamim Lezulato, Zofem Yodea Setarenu, Mabit Lesof Davar Bekadmato, Gomer Leish Chesed Kemifalo, Notet Rashara Krishato, Yishnach Leket Yamin Meshichenu, Liftot Mechakeket Yeshuato, Metim Yechayel Berov Chasto, Baruch Adei Ad Shem Tehilato, Metim Yechayel